You have been live at Mischmania. We've already posted a few videos of that.
One video to be exact, but yes.
Well, but maybe also some stories, right?
That's true. I think so.
So technically videos, I guess.
Okay, I'm sorry for my mistake here. I apologize.
Yeah, please be quiet now, all right? Only speak up when you're spoken to. Just kidding. So Mischmania, just a quick rundown for everybody who does not know. Mischmania is an event organized by two friends of ours, Leon Sanchez and Moritz Fischer. Leon is quite well known in the community. You probably will have seen him already. He's been featured in a few Anyone videos, or one, I guess. But he's done a lot of cool stuff too. On his own, so he's a great guy and quite a well-known cardist. Moritz Fischer, not so much well-known. He's doing great cardistry as well, but he's also just an amazing designer.
He's the 3D guy. Look at the Instagram profile of Mischmania and you understand what Moritz does. He's so great at that.
Yeah, he's very, very talented in that department, and they teamed up together to do an event. And actually, the first time they did that was last year, and this year was the second one, and it was a one-day event in Germany held in German, which is quite unique. And yeah, Mattis, why don't you tell us everything about it? Maybe let us know what, like, the price and all the infos about it, and then also, yeah, how was your experience? How was it?
So the price, I don't even remember it exactly anymore. I think it was like 60 euros.
60, was it 60 or 60? No, whoa, wait, we had 69, yeah, 69, 59, 60 or something.
Yeah, I think something like that.
Around that, I'll check that.
And it was just a one-day event, as you just said, so not too much time to do stuff. But it was one day full of video screenings and presentations and mini games, and actually, or not really presentations, but they had a lot of mini games that were really well designed, well made. So they put a lot of thought in that, definitely. And everybody got a goodie bag with a few decks. I think 4 or 5 decks of cards. And some like sweets, and also these poker chips with their logo printed on them. So that is also pretty cool to have some of these of items. And actually, Leon also screened a small video there where he did some cardistry with these poker things. So he created some moves that you could do with these. So that was a cool concept, cool thing. They had a few decks in the goodie bags, which were basically like the same decks we got at every event this year. So this year, this was my 3rd event and my last event for this year, probably. So I went to Cardistry Experience, obviously, Cardistry Con, and now Mischmania. And again, we had the missing ones, one of the 3 colors. Everybody had one of those in there. We got the dealer's grip Dan and Dave's, which I also got at XP already. We got the Komorebi Interlinks, which I also got at XP already. And we got one other deck that I don't remember right now. No, it was an Anyone XL checker.
Anyone XL, board, yeah, the XLs.
Yeah.
Right.
So 4 decks that I had already, and we had one new deck that was actually cool because it was their own deck of cards. They had that last year already, right. And now they also made an own deck again. And I actually quite like the design, the back design from the Mischmania deck, and the faces are like black faces on the black cards and blue on the red cards, fitting to the back design. So I think the design is really cool, and it's a really nice deck we got there. But I have to say the handling is not that well. It is made by MPC. In my experience, MPC has improved so much over the years. Like, for example, we did our XP deck with them, and I think it feels really good. But this one is more like a smooth finish deck, and I really don't like how it feels. But that is just what I think about it, and as I said, the design is still amazing, and they did a really good job with that. So I still enjoy the deck.
Funnily enough, I was able to try one in Stuttgart when I was with Manuel.
Yeah.
Because he was at Mischmania too. So, and I had seen the deck before, and I think the design is amazing. And like honestly, I don't know how they fucked how they fucked it up. The handling, I don't know what they did.
Yeah.
Reach out to us. You know, we know how to do it. We did the XP ones, and they are also kind of smooth finish. But the second I touched them, I was like, fucking hell. That's horrible. Like it seems as if something went wrong or something.
Yeah, but
or if they
like, why would something
chose
go
like
wrong?
a weird combination? And then also I have the first edition deck. You have that too because you were at the event. I wasn't, but the black and yellow one.
Yeah.
And that handles quite alright.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Something weird going on with that. Other than that, the design, I think it's really cool. The 3D kind of borderless thing, pattern, sculpture kind of look. I really like that. But let's talk about maybe the sponsors. Can you just do a quick rundown of the sponsors?
Yeah, so I just talked about the 4 deck next to this one that were in the goodie bag. Telescript, Komorebi, anyone missing. So these 4 were sponsors, and there was Four Corner and YGH, so Yang Ganyao. But we didn't get any decks from these 2. They sponsored some prizes for mini games or something for the event.
Yeah.
It was pretty different. So I think somebody got a uncut sheet from Four Corner as a prize, and Yang Ganyao had a few of their decks as prizes. I think not so many, but a few, and also some of their bandanas.
Did Four Corner did Scott bring some of the new deck? Was that there at all?
No, nothing of the new deck.
Or just the old one?
Yeah, and I don't even know if they had some of the old decks or if they just had the uncut sheet as one prize. That was, I think, the only thing that I saw from them. And that was it. And from YGH, I actually won one of the bandanas. So I can showcase it now, but some people might know it already.
Dude, I want you to wear that on campus tomorrow, dude.
Yeah, I don't wear these things at all, so I don't really need it. But but it's nice that I got it. And
if anyone would like to have this, hit up Mattis on Instagram.
Anyone who would like to have it, I think should sign up for the next Cardistry experience and see how to win it there, maybe.
So what do you think about that? Because I know, funnily enough, we haven't even talked about this at all yet, about Mischmania.
Yeah.
I think us too. I've talked to a few other people who have been there, and obviously also to Moritz, because it seems like it went very well.
Yes.
The mini games seemed like so much fun. Like they tried a lot of stuff just totally different than Con or XP, I think.
Yes.
And everybody who I talked to had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And maybe you can share some more about that, about the schedule and stuff, because I'm interested in that too. But because we're just like now at that point, let's quickly talk about the sponsoring, because I remember that we talked about that. It was quite interesting because the way they do the sponsoring tiers, because we obviously always wonder about that kind of what makes a brand a sponsor, you know?
Yeah.
And obviously in the end, like the person who organizes the event, they make the call, right? Nobody else has any say in that. But then again, also I find it quite interesting because they are widely different, you know?
Yeah.
The sponsors.
Yeah, so we had, I think it was like 52 tickets they said at the beginning will be sold. And I think they didn't sell out. I think we had like 40 people there about. I'm not quite sure. I don't have the exact numbers. You can go to their Instagram and count on the group photo, I guess. But about 40 people. So the sponsors probably gave them still like 50 decks of each to have them for the goodie bags. And at a lot of mini games, you also won some of the Komorebi and some of the Anyone decks, so of the XL checks and of the interlinks from Komorebi. So for example, I won this bandana, and I won one other mini game, and I think I got 2 of the Komorebi decks and 1 Anyone deck, but I had both of them in my goodie bag already, and I had them before the event already. So it didn't feel like a really cool prize to me. It's still like it's still nothing bad. Like I still take the decks, but I think I gave one of the Komorebi decks away again because I had so many of them already. Because I think Moritz told me that he didn't have one at all of those, so I just gave him one. So it seems like they had like those decks left over from the goodie bags and just used them as prizes.
Sure.
So I also felt like it seemed that the sponsors didn't have to give the same things, and as you said, it's totally fine. The organizers of the event make up those deals, and if everybody is fine with that, then it is fine. But it's something I also care about a lot. So I really paid attention to what I see from each sponsor. So, for example, anyone apparently also had some of their bags there, like the tote bags with the zipper. You could win some of those. That was after I was gone because I had to go like an hour earlier. But still, they had some of those. And so it feels like some brands gave a lot for that, and some brands didn't give that much and still got the same spot on the poster on Instagram and on that stuff, so they still received the same thing for giving less. And that is something, for example, I don't know if you remember, but I think I told you about CDC. I won last year, and not every of the sponsor sent over their prizes, and I think this is something I've never told publicly, but I still haven't received all of the decks that I was supposed to get, and I don't care that much, in the sense that I probably wouldn't even use the decks by the brands that I didn't get yet, because I have just so many decks. But I'm still kind of a bit mad about that, just because the sponsors are still on the Instagram post. The sponsors still got their name out, still got everything you get as a sponsor, but didn't give anything for that. So in that case, in CDC, that is something where I see it like problematic, even like it is something really weird. And now with Mischmania, it's obviously not that big of a case, because everybody gave something, everybody got a bit of advertisement, could screen some videos, but it's still something I care about a lot, and I see if there are some things that are uneven maybe. So
obviously, I mean, we obviously, as guys who organize an event as well, it's just super interesting to pay attention to these things, right? So guys, don't get this wrong, you know, like this is not about judging anything or saying something's better than something else, but it's just about analyzing. We think that's super interesting, and I totally agree with you, especially on the card Discord thing. Also, we've talked about that before too. It's not necessarily the job of Cardistry Discord at that point, right? Because they put it together, and then if another brand doesn't keep their commitment, then that's pretty much on them. But then also, it just seems as if that happens so often with brands. I think also on there was this Fontaine discussion about not paying the prize money and stuff, and it seems that happens more and more often, that people just say, hey, you win this and that, and then they never send it out, and you're like, dude, what the fuck is going on? And I think what might help is just to point stuff like that out. So I don't know, just kind of talk about that, because when people don't make it public, the Fontaine thing, I hadn't heard about that before, like a couple of weeks ago even. And it definitely puts everything into a different perspective when you say, hey, why does person X, Y, or Z not do what they said they would do? You know, that's just not a good look on it, you know. And I think for us as a community, it would be great to be a bit more transparent with that, and kind of to bring it back to Mischmania now. I still think it's kind of curious, because obviously I was then thinking that, okay, they have 6 sponsors, you're probably going to get 6 decks in the goodie bag, which, I mean, for the price, I think it's totally great. Like, you got 5, that's all also totally amazing. They made their own deck, you know, no issues there. But just interesting regarding the communication, because it wasn't quite clear up front. I was a bit surprised when I heard that there were just 2 sponsors who seemed to have supplied way less, kind of. And I just think it was an interesting thing. But maybe let's talk about the mini games. What would you say was your favorite game they played?
Oh, that's an interesting one. I played a lot of different ones, and it was just a cool vibe. So there was some classic ones, like Who Can Do the Longest Pediddle, which I, of course, fucked up in the first second and lost my card immediately and lost that game. As always when I'm on stage with trying to do Pediddle.
Classic Mattis.
Then sometimes it was just like to have something between the videos. So for example, sometimes they would just, everybody was sitting there shuffling their cards in the meantime, and then Ben, who was the host of that, basically just said, okay, whoever can pull out the 3 of clubs first. And then everybody was searching in their deck, searching for the 3 of clubs, and the first one who could show that up would win something, which is a really funny idea, cool. Because it's just something, you don't need any skill or something for that. You just look through the deck, try to be lucky to see it fast, and then you win something. So I think I won one of those. I think they did 2 of these, and I won one of them. Then they had also some really different games. So for example, they had a game they also played last year already, where they just ask questions about cardistry, and then they have 4 answers, and everybody will hold up a card. And so one answer is spades, one answer is clubs, one answer is hearts, one answer is diamonds. And so if I think diamonds is correct, I hold up a diamonds card, and everybody who didn't get the right answer has to sit down. And so you go question by question, and whoever gets the furthest can answer the most questions, who's still standing in the end. That person
cool.
wins a prize. So that might be my favorite game they did. That is just a cool concept, and they had some good questions. So some like weird questions, some like when were playing cards invented or something, so like you wouldn't know, but also some about cardists. And for example, I had some pairs of cardists with the same last name, and asked who of these is not like in the same family. So you have to know some background about some cardists, and there were like a lot of pretty cool questions in that. And another really interesting game, for example, was I think they got 3 or 4, I think 3 people on stage, and then they would show parts of back designs on the screen. So for example, you would just see a circle of any back design. For example, if you take this deck, you would just see like this part or something, like just a really small part of the design, and those people on stage have to guess what deck it is from. And that was also really interesting. So Philip easily won that game, but he lost in the round where they pulled up a part of the aviator design, even though he had an aviator deck in his hand in the moment. He lost that round. He was a bit embarrassed afterwards. That was really funny to see. But he guessed some other decks that I didn't know at all. Like I didn't guess them. It was crazy. I didn't participate in that game, but it was really fun to watch that. Because some things are really obvious and everybody knows it, and some people don't. And some things are not obvious at all, and you are impressed by the people who can still manage to find it out. So they had all kinds of games, and it was really interesting to see all of that. But I think the one where you have to guess which of the 4 answers is right, I think that was probably my favorite. Oh, and one
right, and I saw Huh?
Hey, you can go first.
I saw maybe it would be funny if it's the same one now. Probably not, but one that I saw was where they stacked the cards.
Yes. Yeah. So they also
one photo of Noe where he kind of like put cards. What was it? The goal was to stack as many cards as you could on your face or something?
Yeah. So Noe was actually really good at that. He got first or second place in that one. I don't quite remember. But you have to stick as many cards in the face as possible. So for example, you can like angel a card here, so some people can do that, and then you are allowed to take like one card in the mouth, and then they kind of stack them over here or use the ears or something. It was so weird, but also so funny to see. And like some people were in the front trying that, and as soon as one card falls down, you're out. And if not any of the cards falls down, then it's just about who can have the most cards in the face. So that was definitely funny to see. Definitely some funny pictures from that.
Crazy.
Yeah.
When I was in Frankfurt a week ago or something, I met up with Noe and Lucas in the park. And actually, you know who was there? Janis Jekyll.
Yeah.
Dude, and they started just out of nowhere fucking sticking cards in their face. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And they, oh no, this was this game we played at Mischmania. I was like,
yeah.
what? And then they showed me a phone. I was like, all right, okay. But it was such a weird moment when they just started out of that. Yeah, but it seems like a very fun game. And one of them, they, as you said, they both won good prizes there.
Yeah. Yes, I'm not sure if they had like first and second place or if just both of them won. But I think those two were the ones who did the best in that game, definitely. And they had a lot of cool video screenings, actually. So some German people who screened some videos. Some videos, for example, Valentin also screened the video that was also screened at the con, the one he made for Corner. And it's still not up on YouTube, so it was cool to see it there again. Some people screened new videos that was also really cool to watch. For example, one video. Oh, my camera is dying.
Oh,
yeah.
Battery, switch it.
Yeah.
Just switch it. Oh. All right, guys, so quick overheating camera issue break. We had to stop for a moment, but now we're back. Yeah, Mattis, let's wrap it up. So you were telling us about the videos, the Mischmania part,
yes.
The Mischmania videos, and maybe finish up that, and then give us a final, like, what your final kind of fazit. Fucking hell. Your general thoughts on Mischmania.
Yeah, so what I wanted to say with the videos, there was a lot of different ones, a lot of good ones, but one that really sticks to my mind is by Franz. You probably have seen him somewhere already at the con or something. He is not only doing cardistry, but he's also doing some breakdancing stuff. And so he made a video where he shows some new cardistry moves and also cardistry moves that include some breakdancing. So he's like standing on his hands and spreading cards at the same time and that stuff. That video is crazy. I think it's out on YouTube, so you can watch that. That was really cool to see. And yeah, there was a lot of different videos, a lot of videos by German artists. So that was really cool to see. And yeah, to wrap it out, to conclude it here, I really liked Mischmania. It was a really cool event. As you said, it was really well organized. There's one funny story that I should tell about that, because if you would ask Leon how it went, he might tell you something different. Because actually in the night before the event, his computer kind of crashed, and so he couldn't use his computer for the event. And they had all the files for all of the games on his computer. They didn't save that in any drive or something. I think he sent it to...
a mistake.
Yeah, he sent it to Moritz on WeTransfer, but the link expired already. So there was no way for them to get to the files. And so in the night before the event, Leon would just sit on another computer and recreate all of the slides, all of the games, and just work through the night and get all of the stuff ready again. Everything from memory, what he just remembered they had. And I think there was one game that they couldn't play because it required too much stuff on PowerPoint, and they didn't have that anymore. But that is crazy that Leon pulled that off and got everything back together, and the event still, like, I would have not noticed that if they didn't tell me that. So that was crazy, and the event was well organized. It's a bit sad that it was only one day. I mean, like, for me, with the timing, it was in the middle of the kick-in that I talked about earlier on this podcast. So I didn't have that much time. So for me, I couldn't have arranged more time for that. But in general, it's cool to just have more time to hang out for a longer time, to meet up longer, especially if you pay money for events. It's cool to have as long as possible to do stuff. There was a pre-jam the day before, so I was also there in the evening, so you were able to get together to meet the others, but there wasn't like an event going on the other days. So that is like the thing I disliked the most, probably, that it wasn't much longer, but the rest of it was pretty cool. And as you said, it was in German, so it was more closed events, more people just because it was just the German community. But for example, Owen was there. Owen, I don't know how good his German is. I think he's even studying in German, but he doesn't speak German fluently, and so he was speaking to everybody in English. But he was the only person who would talk in English, I think. But then he had some people, if he didn't understand something, he had some people who helped him translate. So I think Tim was sitting next to him and translated some stuff for him. So it was still fine for him, but it's still not really a recommended event for people who don't speak German at all. So that is something you have to keep in mind. But also having the event in German gave them some new possibilities. So for example, Ben was the host of the event, and when the event started, he came in rapping some music on some German beat, like on a German song, but with own lyrics in German that he made up that was about cardistry and Mischmania. So that was really funny. Ben did a really good job on that, or on the whole thing. So that was really good, and that for that it helped that the event was held in German. So yeah, it was a good event. That's what I wanted to say about it. Yes.
Exciting. Yeah, I'm excited to see where they go with this. I mean, it's so cool that they did now 2 already, and I really hope that they do increase it to 2 days at some point. I mean, as we have said many times before, for us, we have noticed in our organization of our events that it doesn't really make much of a difference, obviously financially, sure. But other than that, it's not quite as hard as, like it is for us, it was a logical thing to go to 3 days at some point. And I would really love just the 2 days, because for me also, just coming from Hamburg all the way over to Mainz, for the 1 day just didn't work this year. The other year it didn't work either, so I really hope that I will be able to attend the next one. If you guys have any thoughts about it, if you've been there, feel free to let us know what you've thought. I think it's super interesting because it's kind of a similar experience for some people, I imagine, as it was for us the Cardistry event that happened in Tokyo. Or was it Tokyo?
I think somewhere in Tokyo there was something, but now after the con there was also something in China.
Right, they had two things in oh no, wait, never mind. Yeah, there was the one in Tokyo, and then after the con anyways, but there were like a bunch, it seems up to 3 cardistry event thingies, I guess, also just 1 day things happening somewhere in Asia. And it didn't really. Many people I have spoken to didn't really hear anything about that, which is super interesting because there's
including us. Like, we also didn't really we saw some Instagram stories, the one in China you talked about. We saw anyone's post about that. They even released a new deck there, even though nobody from our community, from our surrounding, really noticed what happened there. So that's definitely interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting the way kind of sometimes you feel like in the internet you hear everything all the time, but then sometimes stuff happens and you just don't hear about it, right? And that can happen there, obviously. I still don't really understand why there's so little just media. I've seen one video of a shop, I sadly don't remember which shop it was, but a shop I had heard of before already, which was kind of organizing the Tokyo thing. And of course we know Vin, right, because he asked us for advice at some point, the guy who organized the Tokyo event. But I just want to say, I imagine it might be a bit similar for some people with Mischmania now, just because it's in German, and so a lot of people will, even when they look at the Instagram, just not quite be getting what's going on. I think
I got some messages.
Interesting.
Like, I posted stories from the event, and I got some messages from people who have never heard of that before. For example, Young Cardistry on Instagram, he has a lot of followers, and he is really into cardistry. But he DM'd me and was asking what that kind of event is, and I think he then started following their account and stuff. But some people were curious about it, but didn't really know what was going on.
Right, which is from the perspective of Mischmania, business-wise, it's so stupid. I really don't understand. I mean, I get why, because it's also supposed to be kind of more a local thing, right? I've talked to to Leon and Moritz about it, and I totally understand that. But then also, I just wish, also with the events in Asia and stuff, I just wish that people would do a bit more of an effort just to tell the people about it, you know, like the way I always didn't like how on so many websites, also of these big brands and stuff, they don't ever have any text or just so little text. Why don't they have like some text regarding a deck design from 8 years ago where they say, oh yeah, this is like, I would love it if Dealer's Group had a kind of a text about the stripe deck, right, where they say and they tell the story about it and stuff, right? Because when you now look at it, you see, oh, they have a bunch of decks, but people now coming into the community, they are not able to kind of grasp the entire story behind it, you know?
Yeah,
and I
think the stripe deck is not even listed on the site. I think they have listed all their decks except for that one. So
right, I mean, I get it, because that's obviously been the one they did with Tobias and Oliver did, right? Can you move your microphone a little bit of your, because it kind of makes
like
it
that?
perfect. Thank you.
Yes?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, and now it's just a bit frustrating always, because I think I especially would love to know as much as I could about all of these events. And with the German event, I just understand just fine, obviously, because I'm German, and I can just ask the guys because I know them. But I do quite understand also why, like, how, you know, I would just wish that there were more, was more information about everything. And if all these people that do cool things, for example, Caleb does this Midwest Cardistry Jam in America, right? He's done that a couple times already, I think. And with that, at least you kind of see, always he posts a few pictures and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I really, but it's just cool to see that they did the event, and it seems as if that might happen more often, you know, these small events, as I said, Caleb with his Midwest Cardistry Jam, Mischmania in Germany, the events in Asia going on. I'm excited to see if that is a viable option, because obviously it will be even more difficult for those projects possibly to earn, to just break even, right, than other events. So it will mostly be just non-profit thing. So
yeah,
but it would be great if they are all able to keep that going, you know, if we could all get a bit more kind of, I guess, self-sufficient from Cardistry Conf, right, from hopefully it is in my continent this year, but if you know, oh, there's events going on in America, like local events, I think that's a very cool kind of thing happening in the community currently. And I just would wish that everybody pays a bit more attention to kind of letting all the other people in the community know, right? Because we're already few enough as it is. So